It's time for devotional comics. Call your friends, call your friends. It's time to learn some Bible stories. Call your friends, call your friends. To love the Lord and grow in His word. To be a friend of God. It's time for devotional comics. Call your friends, call your friends. It's time for devotional comics. Call your friends, call your friends. It's time to learn some Bible stories. Call your friends, call your friends. To love the Lord and grow in His word. To be a friend of God. It's time for devotional comics. Call your friends, call your friends.
It's Bible story time. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome once again to Devotional Comics for Children, where Bible stories come alive with color, fun, and powerful lessons. I am so happy you joined today, because we have a very special story that shows how God can take something small and turn it into something very big. Our Bible story is found in John, chapter 6, verses 1 to 14. Before we begin, here's a quick challenge. If you enjoy Bible stories that make your heart glad and build your faith, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with your friends. That way, you will always be part of our Devotional Comics family, where every story brings you closer to God. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt too small to make a difference? Maybe you wanted to help but thought you had nothing important to give. Well, today's story is about a young boy who discovered that even the smallest gift can be used by God to perform an amazing miracle. This story begins on a sunny hillside, with a crowd so large that no one could even count them. They came from towns and villages, bringing their families along, because they wanted to see Jesus. Some were sick and wanted healing. Others were curious, and many just wanted to hear His words of life. The hillside was packed. Children played while waiting. Mothers carried babies. Fathers looked for a good place to sit. Everyone's eyes were fixed on Jesus. Time passed, and the people forgot about everything else. Hours went by. The sun began to set. Stomachs started to rumble. Little children tugged at their parents' clothes asking for food. But there was nothing around. The nearest market was far away, and no one had brought enough food for such a huge crowd. The disciples began to worry. They whispered among themselves, wondering how to feed so many. Thousands of people. How could anyone find food for them all? Right in the middle of the crowd was a little boy. He was small compared to the men and women around him. In his hand, he held a simple lunch, 5 small loaves of bread and 2 tiny fish. His mother must have packed it before he left home. It wasn't fancy, and it wasn't much. Can you imagine what went through his mind? Should he keep it for himself? Should he hide it before someone laughed? But deep in his heart, he felt that he could trust Jesus with it. And so, with courage, he stepped forward. The crowd looked at him. Some smiled gently. Others looked puzzled. What difference could such a little meal make among so many people? But Jesus took the lunch, looked up to heaven, and gave thanks. Suddenly, something extraordinary began to happen. The bread multiplied. The fish grew and grew. What was once one basket became many. The disciples' eyes widened in shock as the food kept coming, overflowing in baskets. Then the miracle spread across the hillside. The disciples carried baskets to the people. Families received bread and fish. Children laughed and clapped as their empty hands became full. Mothers smiled as their babies ate. Fathers shook their heads in amazement, unable to believe what they were seeing. And the boy? He stood there, watching in awe. His small lunch had become the key to feeding more than 5,000 people. When everyone was satisfied, 12 whole baskets of leftovers were gathered, far more than what he had started with. What began as a little gift had turned into a great miracle. Lessons to learn from the story. 1. God can use what seems small. The boy's meal was tiny, but in God's hands, it became more than enough. Boys and girls, you may feel small in your classroom, home, or church, but God sees great value in you. Even if it's a small prayer, a little song, or a simple act of kindness, God can use it to bless many people. 2. Generosity brings blessings. The boy shared his food, and it became a blessing to thousands. When you share your toys, food, or even a smile with someone, you may not see it, but you are planting seeds of blessing. God uses generous hearts to spread joy. 3. Faith means trusting God with what you have. The boy didn't hold back. He gave his lunch even when it seemed too small. Maybe you don't have much pocket money, or maybe you can only say a short prayer, but when you give it to God with faith, He can multiply it and use it in mighty ways. 4. God always provides. No one went home hungry that day. God made sure everyone was satisfied. If you ever feel worried about tomorrow, about food, clothes, or school needs, remember that God is your provider. He will always make a way, just as He did on that hillside. 5. Children are important to God's plan. Out of thousands of people, it was a child who became part of the miracle. Don't ever think you are too young to serve God. You can pray, sing, share, and tell others about Jesus. God delights in using children like you for His glory. Isn't that amazing? A little boy, a small meal, and a crowd of thousands, from hunger and worry to joy and satisfaction, all because one child was willing to share. This shows us that with God, no gift is ever too small, and no child is ever too little to be used for something great. If you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Devotional Comics for Children, and share it with your friends so they can also learn how God uses even the smallest things to do mighty miracles. And always remember, when you give what you have to Jesus, He can turn your little into much. Till we come your way again, remain blessed.
It's time for Devotional Comics. Call your friends, call your friends. It's time to learn some Bible stories. Call your friends, call your friends. To love the Lord and grow in His word. To be a friend of God. It's time for Devotional Comics. Call your friends, call your